Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be covering all of my favorite crochet flower patterns. All of these I have made. There's actually one I'll admit I have not made, so I will have a little disclaimer there that it is not something I've actually done the pattern, but I will go more into that as the video goes along. But all these other ones I have tested out, I have done, and I can safely say that these are not AI. These are actual legit patterns. These are patterns that you'll actually get the result of what I'm showing you, so you won't be disappointed after hours of work or be misled to a fake pattern. So I'm here to help you guys out with that. I will have down below all the patterns that I'll be showing to help you, and I'll talk about that more as I go along for each one, so they'll all be linked down below. But I will also have affiliated links as well for crochet supplies, maybe some yarn, just different things that could help you guys in your crocheting, or if you're involved in anything involving knitting. I mean, there'll be more crochet stuff, but they will be affiliated links. So if you purchase, click on the link and purchase those items, I'll make a small commission, and that will help support me on my channel. If you're not in a position financially to be able to support me that way, no worries. Just watch this video all the way to the end and share it. Comment down below. All these other little things are very simple ways for you to support my channel at no cost to you. So that's a great way and a free way for you guys to support my channel. A lot of the items that you will be seeing in this video I will have listed in my shop, linked down below. I'll have this little symbol here on the corner of each item if this is something that you'll be able to get. Keep in mind that depending on when you're watching this video, I may no longer have that item available, and some of my items are a one-time only, or I only will make something in a specific color. I'm not a do request kind of person, just because I like to kind of do my own thing. So that is something you may have to keep in mind as well. But I will do my best to let you guys know some of the stuff I kind of just made for this video, so I can't guarantee that it will be in my shop, or if I tweak it, or it just may not be listed, because sometimes I hold on to stuff and not sure what to do with it. Don't mind me and my crazy brain on doing all that kind of stuff, but I'll do my best to let you guys know. You can also just check out my shop in general. Some of the stuff I have in my shop are from when I first opened it, so there's a lot of things that are looking for a new home and lots of love. So go check it on out. There's lots of things available, all sorts of holidays, all sorts of decor, things that make wonderful gifts. If you're not into crocheting, or you're still new and you're just wanting to have something that's already crocheted, that's a great place to, and another great way to support me is by purchasing things through my shop. All right, without any further ado and me chatting along, let's get to the fun patterns that I have to share with you guys. All right, starting off strong. This one's probably one of my all-time favorite flower patterns of all time. I originally did this pattern back, if you watched my Valentine's Day video, this was actually the crochet rose. And if you watched that video, I did talk about how I wanted to do a bunch of them in different colors because they kind of reminded me of tulips. So the pattern is not tulips specifically, it is for a rose. But as you can see, you can take pretty much any color of yarn and you can make any really color of flower, because it kind of just look like a regular flower. I mean, you would probably not even know that it was originally a rose, but I love how just any color makes it look so fun. It pops, and I mean, aren't these so adorable? You could do a whole bunch of these. I mean, I had mine in a basket just when I was making them, and even that made it look cute. So you could do all sorts of things. You can hand them out, sell them at markets, and I love this pattern because it's so quick and easy to make. This pattern credit goes to Stringy Ding Ding, and like I said, it's one of my most favorite because a lot of 3D amigurumis can be very time consuming, feel like it takes a long time, and I was busting these out like crazy. My husband actually was impressed. I think I made most of these in a very short amount of time in one day. So he was very surprised that I had done that many. I was like, yeah, this is actually a really quick pattern, and it's not one of those patterns that is very involved. And I would say it's very beginner friendly because you are just working in the round, and then you have a centerpiece that you'll attach. This part does probably use a little bit of double crochet, but again, if you don't know any of those terms or you're a little unfamiliar, go check out my videos. I have all the beginner stitches in my Crochet for Beginners playlist. And then you work on doing the stem and you'll attach that, and then you can crochet 2 leaves. I just did 1 leaf, but you could do 2. So if you really like putting leaves on your flowers, you can do 2 of them on both sides. I just like the way the one looks. But overall, very easy pattern. Or if you're wanting to make a bunch for kids or for people that you know, for Mother's Day, people that love flowers. I mean, this alone, you don't have to put faces on them and you don't have to have that, but you can make a mini bouquet. I mean, this could be so cute and so reversible in so many regards. Like I said, you can even do, I know this is not Valentine's Day, but when I did the rose, you could do a bouquet of roses just doing this pattern because it is originally a rose pattern. So there's just unlimited possibilities what you could do with this. But I absolutely love this because they make me so happy seeing how cute these are. And just having something like that sit on your shelf or in creating your own little bouquet would be absolutely adorable. All right, this next one I kind of found just scrolling through Pinterest, and it is a flower bunting pattern. And what caught me the most, is I'll show you the picture, is it is something you can turn into like a fun little garland. So I just did a couple here to kind of test out the pattern for you guys, and also because I was curious how it worked up myself. And so I just did a couple spring colors. My camera is not, the one's like a darker purple, but it's showing kind of light. And then this one is just a light blue, and you can do all sorts of different colors. I was trying to keep my time short because I have a lot of projects here. I was trying to get for you guys to just show them, but I could have done pink and all these other spring colors, or you could do all one color or just two alternating colors. But I love the idea that in that picture that you can make the whole garland thing too, where you just make the string and then you can just string it through. And that was also included in the pattern. So this pattern credit goes to Jenny Phin, Phin. And as a little heads up, it is written in UK terms, but not to scare you guys, because I know that can be like super intimidating when you're like, oh my gosh, it's in another language, but it's only a few things in the end. So just so you guys know, if you're a little scared about that, so in the UK terms, she'll say something about treble crochet. So the translation in English, or for US terms, so if you're crocheting in the US, it's really just double crochet. And then the double crochet in UK terms, so when she says in the pattern double crochet, it really just means single crochet. And that's mentioned like one time towards the end. So just kind of go through that and fix that in your pattern, maybe print it out or write it down and just kind of fix that little portion. That's what I did. Other than that, you should be smooth sailing. Everything else should be fine. But I worked it out and it turned out really cute, honestly. You do so many different colors. These even just could be cute as little coasters or just little things on your table. I mean, looking at it on my table, I could see this being a very cute, just where you could put a candle or whatever decor piece, any little figurines. It could be really cute. Like this was so easy in the end. Like once I got over the whole little translation, which like I said was only a few little spots, everything else worked out the exact same. So don't let those terms scare you. It can be easily worked around. All right, this next one is pretty fun. You got this fun little flower pot, but oh look, haha. It's a keychain too, so it comes out. So this one is a forget-me-not keychain. So you can have it just kind of sitting if you want. You could have this attached to your keys. I've even seen where it can be attached to your purse, just as a fun little pom-pom type thing. But I thought it was just kind of cute because it looks like it could just sit like that, but you could also do things with it as well. So this pattern credit goes to JT Easy Crochet, and there is a YouTube tutorial, so I'll have that link down below. And it really is just, you got the pot, everything's all included with that, and then you've got there's a ball that you'll crochet, and then you attach the flowers. I can't remember in the video she shows the detail of attaching the flowers or not, but I cheat and I don't feel like, because I think there is like 17 flowers, I can't remember. I know she says at least 17, so I don't know if I actually made that many or if I made more, because I think mine were on the smaller scale. But I'm not gonna be attaching those by hand. I'm sorry, I'm just one of those crocheters that tedious, teeny little things like this, I'm not going to. Not when I don't have to. And so I cheated and I hot glued every single one of these on. That way I know that these are going to stay on, and also just makes it easier on myself. I don't have the patience to sew this much. So sorry if you are against hot gluing your crochet items. I only do it for specific things, and this is one of those things that I would specifically do this for. So sorry about that, guys, but it makes my life a lot easier and less stressful having to just hot glue it on. But I love this. I've made this before. I gave this to somebody last year, and I did pink flowers instead because they liked pink more. But I liking the blue because forget-me-nots are more purpley and blue and stuff like that. But you could do any color you want. Who's going to tell you that you can't? Because you could just make it any flower, really. But I just like how it has like a functional purpose, but it also looks like it is just a flower pot. So it's kind of fun, and you can put things in it, I guess, if you wanted. But I like functional crochet things. It makes them just a little bit more of a personality to it and just gives it more of a purpose. So that was kind of a fun one to do. All right, this one was a bit unexpected. This was something I saw on Pinterest, and I really loved the way that these sunflowers looked. And then I clicked on the pattern and it gave me straight to the pattern, so that was great, but it didn't show no pictures, so I assumed I was making this, and I had seen something that looked a little different. I can kind of show you the picture. This is what I was expecting that this outcome was going to be. So when I got to working on this bowl portion, I was a little shocked because I'm like, that's not what the picture I saw looked like, which is all good, you know, but it took me a while of seeing later on Pinterest that there was this exact setup like this, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's supposed to look like this. So pictures would have been a little helpful. I kind of like it when people actually show pictures for the pattern, because when we all just say sunflowers and a basket, you don't know which sun that is, especially when there's so many patterns out there. So I think it would have been a little more helpful had the correct picture been with the pattern, and let alone just a picture in general with the pattern, because it was just straight pattern. It had no picture. I would have preferred that, but it's fine. What's done is done. It worked out and it fits the sunflowers. But the pattern credit for this goes to Harriet. That's all it says, Harriet. But overall, love this. Still, even making it and everything, it just looked exactly like the picture I had seen. Like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan when I was like working this. I'm like, this doesn't look quite like, you know, the bowl was really big, and it might be a little inconvenient for me wanting to list something like this in my shop because it's so big. I don't know how many people would want it like this. I mean, it's still cute, but it wasn't the original plan for myself. But overall, beginner friendly, I would say, for the most part, if you know your stitches. There is, I think, with these, a picket stitch, which I believe she explains how to do it in the pattern anyway. So if I could do it, you guys can do it. Again, pretty basic with the working in the round. Very easy on that portion. So overall, pretty straightforward with how this works, and you can make a bunch of them. I think it said to make like 6 of them. So I have, I believe, 6 here, just because that all can fit in this bowl. So they're nice if you like a lot of that sunflowery coaster thing, or if you're just wanting to make a sunflower itself and make a blanket or something, or attach it. This is a great sunflower pattern, probably my most favorite, and will probably stay my favorite until I find a different one, because I've done other sunflower patterns and they're kind of involved. So this was kind of nice where it was just, you can probably, I can't even remember specifically what you do, but you probably only work like 2 rounds to make these actually. So it worked out very quickly. Now, I did find the other pattern that I thought that this was for the bowl. And so this is the bowl itself, because the one I saw, as you saw in the picture, it looked like this with the sunflowers, I believe, in it. I think like that or something, where it had them in there. So it turned out that it was a completely separate, different pattern, but you could have, you know, your own thing, or I don't know, everybody has different ways that you could like lay them in or something. But this pattern credit goes to Make It Yourself by Papari. So there's a YouTube tutorial for this. Her sunflower is different than the one I just showed you here. It doesn't look like this. So keep that in mind. If you're going to be following her pattern, you'll have a different sunflower, a little different. The leaves aren't the same. I think the center's pretty much the same. The leaves are still slightly different. I think they look more like this. But you could still make these sunflowers and do this pot, which is basically what I did, and probably what I'll do in my shop is list, you know, only so many coasters or something. But I did like how this one had the leaves and it looks more like the flowers. I kind of like having that functional flower, kind of like with the forget-me-not, where it looks like a pot, but the flower part can come out and be functional. And so it's not just something that's limited to just as a decor piece, but it can be something you can use at the same time, but then something you can put away and looks nice. So I did like that about that, but had a little bit of confusion. Pinterest has been kind of weird the last few months, I feel like, when it comes to images and accessing patterns. I don't know what you guys all think. Are you guys having any issues on Pinterest? Because I have been lately, where it's not what it used to be, and it's kind of frustrating. Let me know what you guys are thinking about Pinterest. If you guys are using Pinterest lately as crocheters, I want to hear about it, because I feel like I'm the only one on that one. Nobody's been saying anything, so I want to hear what everyone's thoughts are. All right, are you guys done with coasters yet? Because I'm not. So this one is, I think the pattern was flower coaster plus pot. So this one's got the pot and then those that come out. This one was fun because it was a little different from the sunflower, where it's more flowery. So I kind of liked how pretty these were, and just different and vibrant and something a little different. Kind of reminds me of roses, kind of reminds me of tulips if you look at them from far away. Up close they kind of look like all blobby, but from far away they look a lot nicer. And these are kind of cute. And then you've got the little pot that they go in. I think maybe the yarn I was using is a lot thicker. Nothing new. My yarn's always different than what everybody uses because I use acrylic yarn, and I think most people are using like a DK very, very thin yarn. So I was only able to make 2. I also ran out of this pink, so I don't think I had enough to make more. But these also, like, only like 2 of these actually fit in this pot. So that was a struggle as well, of like, mine didn't fit the same as hers. But the pattern credit for these coasters, I'm totally gonna butcher this, Brunicality on YouTube. So she had a YouTube video. If I said that wrong, the link's down below and you'll be able to follow that. But I would probably, for myself, because my pot was way too small, I don't know, like I said, I don't know why that happened, but probably what I'll do is probably use this, because I mean, these fit better. So I could probably make, like, kind of reminds me of like a hydrangula, but like another option too. So I really do like this one because it does open up a possibility if you have multiple flower coasters that you need them to go into something. This is a great way to make that work. Like I said, it looks pretty as just a flower centerpiece. So not that they originally went together, but that's probably what I'll do, because I feel like this fits so much better than this one. So it might have been just the size pot I used, or the yarn, or whatever. I don't know how it didn't work out the same as her pattern. All right, these are my last coasters, I promise. So these are much simpler if you're wanting something that's just kind of quick and basic, because it kind of gives you like that flower kind of outline, and very simple. And this kind of shows you how different yarn can work up. I don't know if you guys can see how much smaller this purple is compared to all of these where I followed. Same hook size, same everything, but sometimes the yarn is not the same size, so it works up a little differently. But this pattern credit goes to Tiffany at Beautiful Dawn Designs. So she has a written pattern, but she also has a YouTube tutorial. So I'll have those both linked down below if you like to read the pattern, or if you need a little help and you like to follow a written pattern, I'll have that as available. But I remember this being very basic. You literally are just working in the round, and then I'm pretty sure you just kind of do, I can't think of what stitch it is on the top of my head, but probably like double crochet or something, all in one stitch, kind of create these fun little ruffles. But this is great because you can do them all one color, or you can do like what I did and have a bunch of different colors. Very easy to come up with. I'm sure you could even do like I've been showing, where you could just take a bunch of them and put them in. This won't work. If I had a bunch of these purple ones, it would probably fit better. But you could just put a bunch of into one of these pots like I've been showing with this, or you could just keep them as, you know, basic and just have them stacked on your coffee table or wherever. Very basic though. I whip these out really quickly. So it's a great quick project if you're needing a last minute gift or something real quick. These will work out very quickly and you just choose whatever colors you want. All right, this one's kind of out of frame. I'll show a much better picture, but this is a sunflower granny square bag. So this pattern credit goes to Crochet 365 Knit 2. She has you where you make a bunch of these granny squares. She even shows a picture and a diagram and everything on how you're supposed to assemble these. So you first just make a whole bunch of these squares. So you just kind of start by making each one, and you can do whatever color changes. I've actually done multiple of these bags. I'll show a bunch of pictures here kind of going along. I made a bunch of different colors. I've done one that's pink with white and yellow, and one that was black. I think the first one I ever made was a blue one. So I had a bunch of different ones. I had a couple people when I first started doing these custom ask for different colors. I don't do custom designs anymore, but those were some ones that I had done for people that I knew. So this one, and the first one I ever made, I lined the inside. I like lining the inside of my bags. I feel like it makes them look nicer. It also makes it, because these do have holes in them, just naturally because of the granny square. And I don't know about other women out there, but I carry pens, or you have things that might poke out, like your keys. Like, it's just not nice to have things that poke out. So that's why I also like to line the inside of these bags, so that you are guaranteed that nothing is going to be falling out and going anywhere. I usually will sew, like, when I make these, I can actually make a video. If you guys want to know how I make these, comment down below. How do you line the inside of your bags? Because most of it is all about the same. Because I've done like rainbow bags and I've done these. So I usually will line them now, because I feel like I said, it just makes them much nicer and much sturdier in the long run. So if you want to know how I line my bags, I'll do a whole separate video explaining how I do all of that, because it is kind of involved. But then I also end up hand sewing that, because I don't like to use my sewing machine, because I don't want the seams to show through there. So I can, like I said, go more into in depth if you guys ask down below. This one is a little different than my other ones. Usually I try to put a pocket in my bags, just because it is nice to have a little extra storage in your bags. And then this one is the first time that I have done where you can put pens or a pencil, and they'll just kind of stay in there, and then you can put like a pack of tissues or your keys or something in there. So that was the first time for doing that, just because I wanted to mix it up from my other bags that I've done, and adding a little bit more. Because I think the first bag that I did listed in my shop, I don't think I gave it a pocket. I can't remember, because I made that like 3 or 4 years ago, but it's sold now, so I don't have it anymore to even tell you guys if I did or didn't. I'd have to check my old listing on that, if it's even still on. But I like making these just because you can do so many different colors. I mean, this one I just did more traditional sunflower colors, but you could do it rainbow if you wanted, or you could do where you only have one center, but then the two be one color. It doesn't have to be the 3 different colors like I did here with this flower. You could kind of choose how you want to do that, but I think it looks really good with more colors, because you get more of that contrast. So yeah, that was kind of a fun thing to do. And I tried to do a green color this time, because the last one I did was a blue. So I was trying to pick something a little more summery and just kind of mix it up a little bit. But it is time consuming, because you are making like 13 of these, and then you have to attach them all together and sew them all together and then make the handles. So it is a bit involved, but as you can see, it is a pretty dang cute end project by the time you're done. So, and I always find that, like I said, with you doing the lining and all that, can make it worthwhile and last longer. So let me know what you guys think about that. Next up here we have this Hello Spring wall hang. And this pattern credit goes to Loops and Love Crochet. And I can never remember what this technique is called. Usually I'll do this when I'm making blankets and things like that. And it's just when it's worked the same both ways. And you do your color changing as you go. And she has on her website with the pattern and everything a graph, and I could not see it on my phone, and so I just draw out my graphs. I could have just taken the image and screenshot it and did it on my tablet, but like I said, the image was kind of difficult, I think, to see that. I also just wanted to make it so that I could have it and make this again, because I thought this was actually really fun. And these are all the same colors and everything. And I think in hers, she had a rod that you attach. I have one. I just, again, for the sake of time for making this video, I was kind of rushing through these patterns so that we could have them and I could show you guys the finished result. So I ended up chaining and estimated my own little hang here. So you may have to tweak yours if you're doing it this way. But I ended up doing about, because I started doing like 40 and then 40. So I came up with doing about 80 chains in total to try to have it be even as best as I could. I mean, it's probably not even. But yeah, so I just did the color change. I tried to follow, you know, similar to what her color scheme was. I know my colors are probably like my purple's probably a little darker than her purple, but everything else is pretty much the same. And it did end up a lot bigger than I expected. I thought this would be a little bit smaller, like not like teeny tiny, but it is a lot bigger than I expected. So I am curious as an item in my shop how this will sell. But I tried to make it pretty lightweight. That was another reason why I kind of left out the rod, just to see if that would kind of help with like shipping and just overall appearances. Maybe the next one I make, I'll put the rod on. But I think it was just a lot of color changing, that's for sure, between all these little things. But I do like, because when I try and make these, I try to make them look the exact same on both sides. Just weave in all my ends. I pulled all my ends through, so if there was an end I had, because sometimes I ran out of yarn and attached it and it stuck out on this end, I pushed all of my ends to the back. That way I didn't have to worry so much about how neatly I hid my ends, and also because it's going to be hung up, so nobody's going to be seeing the back really. So I did that as well to kind of keep that more on the simple and just kind of keeping it nice. I'm not exactly sure why my O is like way over. It might be my tension. I know when I'm adding and changing colors, I can be a little tight, so some of my stuff might not look as neat because it's tight, and I don't know. My tension, I think color changing messes with it. I know some of the yarn, like this yarn, is a thinner yarn than the rest of this, so that could have affected. That might be why some of my stuff's a little wobbly. It is just my tension, and also just the way the yarn is the thinner yarn, so it may have affected overall the way this looks. But I like how this turned out, and it just looks really fun. There's a whole bunch of these types of things that I've seen on Pinterest where you can do a bunch of different little wall hangs. And if you guys want me to try and check those out and maybe share some of those as we go along, I can try and do them. It will probably take me a bit because these do take quite a bit of time because of color changing and all that stuff. But I do like making these. I like how these are on a smaller scale because I do like making graphkins. But as you saw with this one, it takes a long time. So to do a graphic, it would take me even longer. So I do like that this allows me to do a much smaller scale, something that I enjoy, especially like color changing, because this kind of reminds me of cross stitching. I know it's not, but it makes me think of the same concept where you are doing, you know, the different colors, and it is kind of working with a square grid and all that. But this one I think is great because you can have this as a hung up decor piece. You could change it to any colors you want if you don't like, and you can even just take the graph and make it say something else. It doesn't have to say hello spring. You could just follow the graph and fill it in with your own words. So you can put your last name on it and have your name, like your family members or something. You'd have to probably do it a lot smaller, but you could do your last name, and maybe when the family was established or when you got married or things like that. Or you can give it as like somebody with their name on it for like a child's room. I mean, it's so versatile. Graphs are great because you can always tweak them. Just figure out how to make it fit is going to be your biggest thing. So like this only allows so much space for the lettering. So do keep that in mind. Hopefully you don't have a long name. Otherwise you'll probably have to blow this up. And you could do that. You could blow this up and make this a bigger grid. You could just add more flowers. That does help because you already have these to reference the flowers. And then you just can figure out how much bigger you need to do everything. So it does involve a little bit more planning on your part if you do have a slightly longer text that you're trying to put in. Or you could also just leave out the text and put something else in. It depends how crafty you want to be about it. But this was fun to do because it was my first time doing something on a smaller scale like this. So that was fun. Alright, so my mind just all of a sudden came up with this idea. I mean, it's just the thought process. If you use a smaller yarn, maybe it won't end up quite this big. But I got to thinking when I saw this from far away that this actually could be like a bag if you wanted. I mean, it's really big, but if you have a smaller, like maybe if you got rid of a couple rows and I kind of put things a little bit closer, you could turn this into a bag. So you could just make one print on one side like this and then figure out how many rows and all that. And then you could do a second side. I don't know why I'm flipping this over, but if you had a back side, like make a separate panel that's the same length and then sew them together. And then you could make a bag or you can just add handles and such. So you could have a bag that like just says Hello Spring or Happy Spring or something. Just an idea that I randomly popped in my mind while I was thinking about things that you could do with this pattern where you could change it up a little bit. So it's not just limited to just being a wall hang. Alright, so I was about ready to prepare to take my pictures for this Hello Spring thing here that I just showed you guys, and I made a discovery that I see why the wooden rod across would be extremely helpful for something this big. I did not think of this until I came to this issue, but it is too big to hold itself on the wall, so it won't hang very nicely without some support along here to kind of hold this in place because it's so long that it won't work. So I will not be listing this item in my shop for that reason right now, because I would never list something like that looks like that when you hang it up. So I will have to kind of go back and tweak this little part to make this actually hangable, because that would not be cool to have that and find that out when you purchase something. So ignore everything I said about not putting a rod in. I mean, you could probably add more supports here, but I think a rod would be most helpful just because it'll give that surety of holding this straight when it hangs up. So this thing's just too big to support itself. So live and learn, you guys. Unfortunately, that was a trial error on my part. I probably should have paid attention to her instructions. Maybe she would have specified that in there. I kind of glance over patterns, honestly, and think I can just figure things out, and it really ends up beating me later when I come along things like this. So I would definitely add a rod across here to support that. So sorry if any of you were interested in this item. It probably will not be available this time around, maybe later. If you are interested in this item, let me know if you're interested, so maybe I can let you know specifically if you want this Hello Spring hanger, so I can maybe message you specifically so that you know when it is available. Alright, so now here's the one that I didn't do, but I feel like would be worth mentioning because it's pretty cool. And they're the flower blankets. So it's, as you can see these pictures, because I didn't make it. You make this blanket, but on the ends it has a flower, and then when you fold it and roll it up, it makes a bouquet. And I think those are a fun way to kind of add something, especially if you want something in your living room or just a display on your bed. It's something just kind of cute, but then you could roll it up and have it as like a little bouquet. So I didn't make it because I didn't have a whole lot of time, because I wanted to make this video for you guys. and I was already so behind with all my other projects, so I just figured I'd list it. All right, so we have the sunflower and we have the rose. So the sunflower credit pattern goes to Crafting Happiness. It's a YouTube video, so I'll have that link down below if you guys want that one. And then the rose one is by Crochet Musings, also a crochet YouTube tutorial. Now that I have not followed through with having something that I made, because that's my rule, is to show you guys things that I've actually made, now you guys get to help me decide so that I am held accountable to actually do this. You guys get to vote. So 1 vote per person. So comment down below, sunflower or rose. And the one that gets 50 votes first is the one I will do. So 1 vote, guys, 1 vote. But you guys hold me accountable. So if you guys vote, I have to do it. Because I actually want to make one, but I need to be held accountable for you guys voting on me to do one. And then I'll have to do it. So help me remember. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you were inspired to make your own crochet flowers. I would love to hear which one that you're thinking about making. Was there something that you just fell in love with and you're going to make? Are you working on something for somebody you know? Are you making stuff for a craft fair? Let me hear about it. I want to know. If you haven't commented at all during this video, say hi or talk about something that you've been working on. I love to hear about all the people that are watching my videos. I feel like it's a ghost town because nobody comments on my videos, so I'd love to hear something. I'd love for you to say hi or tell me what you're working on or what got you excited about this video. What are you gonna make? Is there anything in this video that got you excited to work on a project? Talk about it. I want to hear. Also, don't forget to vote for sunflower or rose, because then I'll make that blanket. Don't let me forget about it, because I still want to make it. I have a lot of projects that I want to work on, and so being reminded by you guys would be so helpful to help me remember to work on this thing that I want to make. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed to me, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon next to it so that you can be notified every time I post new videos. And as always, happy crafting and keep creating beautiful things. Until next time, everybody, bye!